It is very, very early in the morning. Actually, it's probably not that early anymore, but it was something like 4:15 a.m. when I woke up. I woke up at 4:15 a.m. because I'm at my boyfriend's property, which is pretty close to mine. And basically he had to wake up at 4:15 in order to be at work at the mountain today. And I usually just go back to sleep, put a blanket over my head, try not to interact so I don't get that awake, and then go back to sleep. But today it's different because this is the most exciting day of my off-grid life so far. A dream of mine is coming true, and I am so excited to share with you. Today begins my partial lease of the horse that I have been taking weekly riding lessons with. Her name is Cali. She is a unregistered Appaloosa. She was a free horse given to my riding instructor, and she does really well on trails. She's super unflappable, sweet, on the ground, lets you pick up her feet really easily, just completely unruffleable, very chill. And then in the saddle, she is a little bit spirited, mostly a good girl, will sometimes do some really fast turns because she's also a barrel racing horse, and she likes to go fast. And today I basically graduate from taking lessons, and I'm going to be taking her out on my own for the first time. The stable that I go to is down the street from where I live, where my off-grid cabin is. And my plan this entire time, since I started taking lessons there, was to get to the point where I felt comfortable and my instructor felt comfortable with me taking her out by myself, and then to do a partial lease so that I could just take her out and then take her up to my cabin to ride around on the trails on the farm where I live, which is 75 acres and has these beautiful, wide, mowed, grassy trails that are beautiful. And ever since I moved there about a year ago, I've just been thinking, these are horse trails. These are horse trails. This is where I need to be loping my horse through the forest. This is what I need to be doing. The real question is, what am I gonna wear for this debut ride? Because my inner horse girl, the alternative baddie, needs to rock out sartorially. I feel like horse girl Laura Croft right now. And yeah, obviously it's half raining. It's 50 degrees out. I'm gonna wear something other than this crop top, but I will know that underneath whatever bulky sweater I choose to wear, that I am horse girl Laura Croft. I am at the stable. It's raining outside, but it's more of a misty drizzle, so I'm sticking with my plan to ride Cali over to my cabin. I've got treat offerings. This beautiful girl. Yes. Is just as fun as I thought it would be. This reminds me of every horse video game I ever played, which was all of them, except for the Sims horse expansion pack. I never played that one. put Cali back on the side where she can go hang out with her friends. She's chilling. Get some water. Yeah. Let's see. Where'd she go? Where'd she go? There she is. Going to rejoin the herd. She's like, you guys will never believe where I just went. Well, that was really fun. I think Callie was a little bit nervous going out by herself because she's usually trail riding in at least a group of 2. And I was a little bit nervous, you know, taking her out for the first time, but we did great. She shied at some pigs. I don't know if she'd seen pigs before, my neighbor's pigs, but calmed her down, didn't lose my seat. You know, she didn't buck or anything. She just kind of jumped sideways. And when we were up on the trails, she refused to go down some of them, and I had to get off and lead her for a little bit to get her to keep going. But hopefully we can keep improving on that. And I'm just so incredibly grateful to have the opportunity to ride now twice a week with this partial lease that I'm doing. I definitely would not be able to afford this if I didn't have such low living expenses, which are because I live off grid. The cabin that I live in would be 3 or 4 times more expensive if it had electricity and running water to rent. I don't have to pay for utilities because I'm not using any, so that's pretty cool. And then also living out here in a very rural area, services and land are just a lot cheaper. So the boarding rates for horses up in the Seattle area where I used to live is about $600 a month, whereas this stable offers it for $300 a month. I was doing my private lessons an hour every week for $40 a lesson, which is just incredibly reasonable. And my partial lease cost is $240 a month, which is also super reasonable to get to take her out for 8 mornings a month, at least for me and my budget. I heard a divorce lawyer once say that everyone thinks that everybody else is spending too much on their hobbies except for whatever hobby they're into. So tell me in the comments, what's the hobby that you spend your extra money on? I'm curious, and let me know what kind of horse content you want to see in the future, or if you have any questions about, I don't know, anything related to my horse experience. And yeah, I probably will talk more about, you know, my life with horses, you know. Part of why I moved to this area, I almost moved to Alaska, and I was like, I'm either going to move to Alaska or I'm going to move to my friend's farm in the foothills of the Cascades, Central Washington. And I basically was like, okay, there's 2 really big life dreams for me. It's moving back to Alaska because I spent my early childhood there, or being a horse girl again, having horses, doing horse stuff, having horses be an integral part of my life. And yes, it's possible to do both. Like, obviously, there are people who have horses in Alaska, but if I was going to Alaska, I would be prioritizing wildness and trying to be in the wildest possible area. And a lot of times the wildest possible area in a northern climate situation is not going to be very hospitable to horses, or it's going to be really expensive to have horses up there. The riding season is also shorter in a lot of areas. From the Panhandle, which is where I spent my early childhood, then it's not as cold in the winter, but it's incredibly wet, like even more so than misty, rainy Washington. Anyway, basically I chose horses over Alaska. Choices were made, and now I get to reap the benefits of all of my hard work. Like, honestly, like, nothing is gonna make it feel more worth it to me that I live without electricity and running water so that I can afford to live out in the middle of nowhere and also live on a property that has acres and acres of trails. You know, if the place that I was staying in had electricity and running water, I wouldn't be able to afford to live there. That's the reality, because they could charge 3 or 4 times more than what I pay for rent. But as is, nobody but me wants to live in this not mouse-proof, no electricity dry cabin. So I'm going to be the one riding horses down the trails. Specifically one horse. I'm kind of a one-horse gal. Yeah, just to back up a little bit more, I've been a horse girl since I was really little. Like, I think once we moved away from Alaska to the Spokane area, shortly after that, I rode my first horse. Her name was Scarlet, and ever after, my favorite color is Scarlet. Horses. I took lessons when my mom could afford it and could take me there a little bit in elementary school. And then when I was 12, I got my first job handling animals at a petting farm, cleaning up after them, etc., to save up to get my horse, Sadie, otherwise known as Sadala's Fire, an Arabian quarter horse mix, a fiery gal, a true blue friend if there ever was one. I'll have to tell y'all more about Sadie and my relationship to her and that, that stuff in a future episode. I don't want to just like lore drop everything that I have to say about horses right now, but needless to say, she was amazing. And my favorite part about having Sadie was that I could walk out of my house and go out into the pasture with her and climb on her back, no saddle, no lead rope, nothing. And I would read books while she would eat grass and walk around in the pasture. That was my favorite part. My second favorite part was galloping her down the road with the wind in our hair. She loved to run. I also loved trail riding with her, getting to like go through the forest together, getting to go through water together. Incredible. Like me and that horse were super, super bonded. And since I got out of paying for horses and horse stuff when I was like in late high school, I had only ridden horses once before I started taking lessons again at this spot down the road from me. And I found the stable that I've been going to when I was on a walk with Romeo. It's literally within walking distance of where I live. So, and I didn't even realize really when I moved to this area that not only is this better than Alaska for horses, like I'm in horse country. Like when I'm driving down the country road, every other place has horses. It's a very lush green area with a decent amount of sun. So there's a lot of just like these beautiful meadows with horses in them. And yeah, I'm just so excited to be able to take Cali over to the cabin, switch her off of her bridle and put her on a lead rope and let her eat some grass outside my cabin because it feels like that grass is being wasted and it could be a delicious horse snack. A horse who doesn't always get, long, long grass because they're sharing their grass and their pasture with the other 6 horses in the herd. Thank you so much for watching me be reunited with my love of the equines. Oh, with my love of the equines so divine. The equines so divine. I'm looking around like somebody might have heard me, but I am truly just out here. Before I go, I'm gonna add, because y'all will be hearing more about this place eventually, but Ben's property is deeper in the mountains than where I live, although it's only like 20 minutes away, and it tends to be really, really misty and really, really beautiful and gorgeous, and it kind of reminds me of my childhood in Southeast Alaska, at least more so than anywhere else that I've lived. So maybe I get my little piece of Alaska energy after all. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one, whenever that may be.